Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Mount Paozu Arcade, where we find out, are you gonna have to pay for that fifth goon? How you doing, Chris?
Ooh, I was doing great up until you mentioned that one. Now my head is full of so many thoughts and opinions that I might explode from sheer opinionation. Is that a word? That's a word now. I've just got so
Oh,
many things running around in here.
I'm a part of the Opinion Nation too, dude.
You're part of the Opinion Nation, Goon Nation, Opinion Nation. It's like right next door to each other. The goons have opinions, and you're gonna hear them tonight. Fifth goon. We just jump right into that, I guess, right? Since you brought it up.
Well, since we're already talking about DLC and stuff, what has happened in the past week? So much info, man.
I mean, like, you got info, you got thoughts, and most importantly, I think you got emotions. I want to say, a lot of people want to say and have said that this has been a very positive, uplifting campaign for a fighting game in the year 2017. Especially in a time where, fighting games were kind of, a little bit of a topsy-turvy world. Nobody really knew what exactly to feel. There was a mix of anger, there was a mix of disgust, and there was a mix of hope in other games. And then Dragon Ball FighterZ comes along and up until recently has been doing everything, pretty much 90% right. And
that pretty close.
Now, and now we are. I mean, this is putting it lightly, but we are the closest thing to the campaign taking a misstep. And I'm talking about the DLC content that was announced the same day as the release date, which is January 25th.
Whoa! What?
Yeah, right.
DLC and season passes for what?
For what? Now, here's the thing. Like, I've been telling you, and other people have been telling you for the last 2 months or 3 months that this is how Bandai Namco does business, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball games, especially recent Dragon Ball games. They like to support it after the initial release. And by doing that, or the way they do that, rather, is they like to provide content after the game's been released, and, you pay for it. That's as simple as that, right? Now, I understand where people are like, oh man, if I'd have known that was coming, I might have, mentally prepared for it, but I didn't. So now I'm caught off guard.
Before you continue from there, I would like your own opinion. I'll give you mine as to how you felt going into it and finding out, and if you think it was all bad, or I just want to know your opinion on where you stand on that.
So we're gonna backtrack. So now I'm gonna give you my very honest thoughts on the things. As I very publicly stated, I pre-ordered both the day one version on PS4 as well as the collector's edition on PS4, and I was gonna buy it again on Steam when it came out.
Crazy, man! You're crazy. You're crazy.
I was crazy. I was like, dude, I'm on. It was the first time I had ever pre-ordered a game through Amazon, and I was delighted to find out that I didn't have to pay for it until the game came out. So it's like, dude, I can save up $200 in 6 months, no problem. It's amazing. Sure.
Dedicated. Yes, you can plan that out. Definitely.
You totally plan that out, and then talk of release date comes up, and I'm like, oh boy, oh baby, here it comes, And
did we even talk about that? Did we talk about that last episode?
Yeah, we talked about release dates. Because
no, the change in
no, we didn't, because it didn't come out until after the episode. Because remember, last week was them announcing it being on the 1st of February for Japan, and they didn't have a date for us. So we were like, oh shit, maybe we're getting a simultaneous.
Oh,
at the very least, we're gonna get it a week later.
Oh yeah, we had a date for Japan, but then all of a sudden they flipped it on.
Right, and then like next couple days later, they're like, by the way, guys, you're getting it 2 weeks earlier than February 1st. Or at least 1 week and a half, I don't know. And I'm like, oh shit, yes, this is
valleys, baby.
entirely unexpected, entirely. But we get it earlier. We get it earlier than the date that they had indicated. And then they started talking about DLC season passes, and I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I expected that. I'm glad they're doing it. Yeah. I'm a mix between I expected it and I'm glad they're doing it, because I wanted there to be as many characters as possible in this game. And while I don't know the final count for the launch release, I feel pretty confident in thinking that, hey, it could be a decent sized number by the way things are going right now. We talked about it last week or a couple weeks ago also, about how some of these characters aren't even finished yet, and so they may have to put some of the plans on the back burner, or at least post-release, because it's just taking a while to develop them. Right now, can't really determine on whether or not that's happening. I know my theory was there were two theories where they had an initial cast release, which was maybe 24, and then they would add more later on, or maybe there were some that are already done that they are ready to announce, but they just haven't yet. I mean, I don't think they would do something that shady. That'd be like more of a release kind of more of like a launch day kind of thing, you know, where they just keep coming out with characters, boom, 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 and you know you get those for basically the price of the admission. Then you get the DLC on top of that. Both of those are pretty good scenarios. I feel. And so overall, like, you know, not to get too distracted from it, but it was a fairly okay response in my head up until I found out that the collector's edition was not going to get any piece of the DLC season pass or anything.
Oh, okay, so let me stop you there. I agree with you. I had no problem with the season pass or the DLC. Uh, the only thing that I think they should do is stop calling it what, like buy that or something, because I like it makes sense, but at this time, if for a marketing standpoint, they should just not call it that or call it something else. Like, because everybody was talking about DLC for weeks, right? Like, it was expected that there would be DLC,
Yeah.
right? And all of a sudden the announcement comes out and it's like, whoa, 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 what the fuck? Like, you guys are doing DLC too? What's going on here? Um, I I can see how people would be upset about it, but had the game not look like it's achieving what it set out to do, I would have a problem with it. But since it looks like it's a very complete game, I'm not really tripping. And if anything, that just gives me hopes of all your favorite characters are totally going to make it into the game, because I did not expect
Exactly.
that many characters to be in the game. Now, to go back to the point that you were saying, you didn't tell me about this, but yeah, that situation that you're describing uh is pretty fucking weird, because it's not that that didn't get settled, but it was murky on their description about all the different things that they're offering in general.
Mm-hmm.
They even had to go back and redact some of this shit, right?
Yes, I believe they did. And this is something I can talk about afterwards. But like, we found out the day after they announced the release date for the West that the collector's edition wasn't going to get the DLC package. Now, I understand that they never said they were going to give it to us. We never even knew there was going to be DLC, and that the collector's edition was legit what they were giving us. And you know, I don't know the breakdown on what that stuff costs, but you know, that's what we were getting. There was never any intention of including anything else. So, I mean, I think if anything, it's just more of a jarring feeling. You know, it feels like, oh, I thought I was getting everything you were offering with this, but then you're offering another package that, while cheaper, and I'm glad it's cheaper, does not give me any of this other stuff. You know?
So you kind of want, I get where you're coming from. With the collector's edition, you wanted, assuming that it was going to be the complete package, right?
Yeah.
Of like the highest, everything's going to be included in this, because usually in that edition, that's how they work out, right?
Right.
And it is not so.
It was not so, and it kind of felt like, I don't think they did it on purpose or anything like that. I think they were trying to make the best of a weird situation themselves. So I don't fault them for, you know, I mean, they could have easily just said that DLC, the Ultimate Edition, costs the same amount as the Collector's Edition. You just got to choose which one you want. I mean, and let's be real. Let's be mature adults about this. You know, like those Bandai figures are pretty damn expensive on their own. You know, those things. And if it's like a legit Bandai figure, and you're getting it for basically like 70, 60, $50. That's pretty much a good deal, you know. Now, this all depends on whether or not you are a figure collector. Obviously, I am not a figure collector. I got this because I wanted to support the game any way I could, and I was like, hey, as an added bonus, I get a Goku figure, right?
Yeah, you're
I'm not
sweetheart.
really good.
You're a sweetheart, dude.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, I love this game. Like, I love this series so much, and I love the game. Like, from what I've touched upon it, that I wanted to do everything I could to, you know, give back. Thank you for Bandai Namco and Arxis for making this game. And then they made the perfect package for me with the Ultimate Edition, where they were just like, I'm going to get way more longevity out of DLC characters, out of anime music sound packs, and out of commentator sound packs. You know, that's actually something I can actually sit down and enjoy endless amounts of time. If I get a figure, that shit's gonna be broken into a million pieces on the bottom of Thea's toy chest. You know, it's gonna be gone. I'm gonna be vacuuming that thing up on Sunday morning.
um, yeah, man. I'm still confused as to which one I want to get. I guess I'm gonna have to get the digital one, even though I don't want the complete package in digital. I want the complete package in like
Like you want the disc.
physical. Yeah, because this is the way I'm thinking about it. Um, if I can help my community by providing a system and a hard copy of Dragon Ball Fighter so that I can help run the tournament, then this is that's why it's a big deal to me. Like I don't want it digital because I feel like that's a bigger problem dealing with
Well,
this
you're basically giving them a $400 game at that point because you got to give them the damn whole system.
Exactly. And yeah, that's a really niche thing that not everybody's thinking about. But also people like physical shit. Why aren't we getting the option to get that in physical form?
Well, the reason why people feel like they don't have the option is because the digital version actually comes with more stuff than the physical. Obviously, there's probably there's actually yeah, it's crazy, right? There's actually no, I mean, as far as I know, I haven't seen any pre-orders available on Amazon or anything for a physical version that it comes with DLC packages other than Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta and the things that come with that. You don't get the season pass, you don't get the anime music pack, you don't get the container sound pack. You don't even get, and this, I understand why they did this. It makes perfect sense, but I also can see how somebody who's a consumer can see this and be like, "You guys didn't say this 2 months ago." You don't get early access to open beta with the physical copies. You can only get that through the digital pre-orders.
Holy shit! I wasn't paying attention. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, man. There's like so much stuff that just like went up in the air just a couple days ago, man. Like, I think they're doing their best to handle it. Like, I don't know how I would handle it. Like, like if I had been telling somebody something for 3 months, and then all of a sudden somebody in the back comes up to me and says, "Hey, man, we can't do it. Tell them to download it." Just like, but I got them already. I got figures ready to go. And like,
now the thing why it's so confusing to me is because it doesn't have a real solid way of how they're trying to distribute this to the consumer. It's like almost as if they gave it too many options to its detriment. They didn't really reel it in.
Well, this might be them trying to reel it in.
I mean, I think they are, but it shouldn't be. If you're releasing all kinds of stuff, info and stuff like that, and how what packages you're gonna sell and whatnot, I feel like they should already have it dialed in and be very straightforward. Because one of the problems with a lot of these games is it's not clear cut as to what exactly you're gonna get for a while. Like that's the problem with other games in their DLC and Bandai Namco's having the same problem where they're not it's not so clear cut, man. I'm still kind of confused.
I mean, it is a very. It took me a minute. I had to read through every package, and then I did research on this shit. Like, I'm over here researching the Gamescom trailer that said that if you pre-ordered this game, you would not only get Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, but you would also get early access to open beta. And I was like, and I also noticed after I looked at that specific splash that said that specific message disappeared after that trailer from every Dragon Ball FighterZ trailer. The early access to open beta disappeared immediately after Gamescom. And I knew at that point, like, oh shit, we're in for a ride.
Yeah. So, in general, just pretty confused as to what they're offering, but the whole DLC season pass thing, to be honest with you, I'm not really tripping about that.
Like, I'm not either. I think it's a good deal. Like, I think here's the way I looked at it, right? And I tweeted this out the day of, and I was like, I want DLC over figures and collectibles because I'm not a collector. I don't think it's worth it for me to hold on to things and hope that they appreciate. Now, I would rather have something that I can enjoy as a fighting game player, as a commentator, as just a person who enjoys video games immensely. And it's cheaper. So I was like, dude, if I'm willing to drop 150 on Collector's Edition, I'm damn sure willing to drop 110 on Ultimate, or just Fighters if I'm just trying to like be competitive. So I think that if you want Collector's Edition, get Collector's Edition. If you want Ultimate Edition with everything on it, get that. If you just want to get, and this is the part that no one's really getting at, is if you want all of that, just get Collector's Edition and then buy the packages afterwards. It's not like it's not available. You know, you can still just buy the season pass after you buy the game. Shit, I just reloaded freaking Street Fighter V on my Steam account and bought season 2's season pass.
Oh.
I got everybody in 2 minutes.
Um. Yeah. Well, I am excited for the fact that they said that 8 characters are going to be added in through the season pass. And there's still more characters to get revealed. And as far as the game goes right now, I am pretty happy for myself. The characters that they are going to bring on release date. So, moving on from that, I'm excited to see what they're going to show us.
Oh man, you talking about Big Sexy? Big
um,
Baldy?
oh yeah, I mean, I was already in on that. Yeah, man, that's
So you
we
saw the
had a
trailer.
trailer. Yes.
Trailer came out today, man. Like we saw the trailer or yesterday rather. The trailer for Nappa came out yesterday, and we got to see him in action. And you know the big question mark around him and possibly Ginyu also is like, hey, how are those summons, how are those dolls going to work? You know, the Cybermen, the Ginyu Force. The Ginyu trailer hasn't come out yet, but we do have a peek at Nappa. And somebody was asking me earlier, do you think he works like, you know, like he's got doll characters, or is it going to be like Jacko, where he plants characters and they just come up and act upon their own? And I mean, judging by some of those options that the Cybermen have, it would be kind of messed up if they were like minions from Jacko, you know? Because one of them's a grab, one of them's a low from behind. I think one of them might hit high or something. I don't know. Maybe one of them's just like a straightforward bullet. That thing, those things look annoying to deal with, you know? And God forbid you get more than one of them out there on the screen at a time. I mean, which might be possible. I don't know. And then on top of that, he has his own moveset that he can use to, like, you know, harass you with while they're messing with you from different angles. So Nappa definitely turning out to be not the kind of character I expected him to be in this game. You know?
The deeper we get into the roster, the more we get into these characters that have a lot of options. We saw that in 18 and her moveset. We saw that in Nappa. And I'm trying to think who they announced around after 18. Was it Piccolo and Krillin?
I think Piccolo and Krillin were announced before them.
Oh,
Was
well,
it? Yeah.
well. Anyways, at any rate, a lot of these characters are starting to get pretty creative. The only thing that we haven't seen so far is can't really pass judgment on Yamcha and Tien because it just didn't seem complete, which we kind of talked about already last
That's a good point.
week.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're making a great point right now where the Tenshin Han and the Yamcha videos, the characters, they were not complete. And then we saw Nappa, and he looks kind of complete. Like he has all his sound bites and everything.
He does,
and,
yeah.
You know, it looks like a complete character. And I'm thinking maybe now either they're working really fast, which is highly possible. It's highly possible that these guys are just banging these characters out right now. Everything's written down on paper. All they need to do is code them correctly. You know,
maybe it's like, let us fall back for a second on these characters that most people don't care about, and then when we put these characters out, we're gonna go all out. Like, you think they're gonna do that to Ginyu? You think when they release the trailers and be like, oh yeah, we didn't do a lot of the voice acting for this stuff, you're just gonna hear silence.
No, I think they needed to be ready for that because they're like, dude, like even if people didn't care about Ginyu, the way they designed him, he's got literally like 6 sound packs. You know, it's him and his boys.
So it's so cool the way Ginyu's starting to look. Just in aesthetic wise, fucking Ginyu is my favorite right now. Like the whole squad with him. I don't know what the hell he's gonna be doing and like how it's gonna work, but it looks amazing, man. And I guess we're kind of all right on our guesses of which
yeah, dude.
The Ginyu Force is gonna make it in because they all made it in practically, right? I mean, basically they all made it in.
I mean, I thought that they would go the route that they usually go, where they're just like, we'll put 2 in, we'll put 1 in, and then they'll just have like a mix of everybody's moves. And yeah, they certainly did. They put 1 in, and he's got a mix of everybody's moves.
Yeah, and that is a good point. Actually, Tatu brings up the point that they created all those models just for Captain Ginyu.
Yeah. Now, that's what I'm saying. It's definitely not surprising that he may not be 100% ready to go yet, or maybe they're holding back on it for a special release because it looks like that's going to be their most creative character.
This game is going to look so fucking crazy. Like, God damn. I'm happy that they put Ginyu, the Ginyu Force in there, because and I think we were talking about this last week, where it was like it would be cool if they didn't call it Captain Ginyu, if they just said the Ginyu Force
Like that's his name
as
on the
a
on the bar.
character.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
sick,
and
dude.
the whole squad is the
Well,
team.
dude, I think that's the intro. The intro is just all 5 of them, just like doing the intro, doing like the presentation, the introduction, And I think they're winning the win poses like that too. It's I don't even want to know what their freaking win quote screen looks like. That shit's probably all over the place.
Dude,
And
like if it fills me with so much happiness, you don't even know.
no, it does. And like when I thought that we were gonna be hitting hard times with
Yeah.
the whole DLC thing and whatnot, and I was like, but we still got these amazing characters to see. And immediately afterwards, people were like, "Where's that Ginyu trailer at?" Well, who are the other eight characters? We theorized that if you look at the character select screen that appears on the official website in Japan, they have more slots available. They extended it by what looks like could be another row.
Uh-huh.
And each row has 8 people in it. Right now, Ginyu has started his own row, which means there are more characters to be revealed before this game is out. Possibly. Don't quote me on that, but that's something that could be possibly happening. And then on top of that, we get 8 extra characters from the season pass.
Dude, also our lists are gonna have to change dramatically because Ginyu himself knocked off a bunch of characters
Yes.
that could have been on the list. So that means a lot more valuable characters. Not saying more valuable, actually scratch that, because I would have liked a Raccoon on his own. I think it would have been great. But they got Ginyu, they knocked off the whole Ginyu force, they're done. So now we're gonna start digging into kind of what we kind of suspected already, some of the other meat and potatoes of the Dragon Ball Z universe,
Mm-hmm.
like the ones that are gonna probably cause an uproar.
Like maybe somebody doesn't. People saying that this person doesn't deserve to be in there. Maybe.
Uh, well, okay. So super characters obviously are like, where the hell are they, right? That's one aspect. Um, the whole thing about movie characters, we've been speculating since day one.
Don't even try to omit the one that you know is the most important to this conversation.
Are you talking about Cooler?
Wow.
Hey, I'm just going off of what you said, man.
I mean, there's always a possibility. You can't just omit it. There's always a possibility of GT characters.
Oh, GT characters? Yeah. Whatever, man. I'm not gonna argue with
always,
that. Okay, sure. Yes, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, they did release. I feel like they're scraping at the bottom of the barrel for.
I mean, sure, yeah, whatever.
But no. But I'm talking about for Xenoverse, because they did announce Tapion, which I'm down. I love that character as far as design wise goes. And then Android 13, which is like I kind of didn't expect that. Right?
Like why would these two guys be announced together? It's just like whatever.
I'm for it. I will say that I'm for it. It's just I didn't expect it. So yeah, man, these character lists.
So my lame ass character list is probably still pretty safe because Ginyu was still solo in that list because I based it off of the Extreme Butoden list. So far the Extreme Butoden list is almost 1 for 1. I think one of the few characters that got omitted from that is most likely going to be Raditz.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week too, where I think after this we're going to start jumping ahead in the timeline to the Majin Buu arc and get more characters out of there. So we might see Gotenks revealed next. We might see Kid Buu revealed next. I mean, hoping for Vegito maybe. I feel like you can definitely do with 1 or 2 fusions in this game. And then that might end up bringing in the more eclectic characters, the more creative, the more fan pleasing characters like Master Roshi, Korin, Crane Hermit. I don't know.
What the hell are you talking about?
Pinchin Han's Old Master.
I let the few slide. Like I guess.
Crane Hermit.
Okay.
Hey, that guy catching bullets with his teeth. Come on, man.
Yeah, but I feel okay. Whatever. Yeah, cool. But yes, it leaves the roster open for a lot of these characters that we felt they either weren't gonna put in because the roster would have to be too big for them to make it in,
Mhm.
because a lot of other characters would probably make it in before them. But now that we keep chopping at the bit with all the characters and including characters that have multiple characters within that character slot, it's making it a lot more likely that a lot of your favorites are going to make it in the game. And the addition of the 8 season pass just almost guarantees it.
Yeah, I mean, you basically, I mean, if it's going the way that the predictions are going, we're talking 32 characters the first year of this game.
Mhm.
That's, as far as I know, outside of like the freaking hipster characters like me wanting, Akuman, that's pretty much everybody potentially. Now, I also want to say that I think Ginyu should be the last character that has that built-in assist system. I feel like, one too many of those might make it feel a little bit like we said last week, like a little labored. Might not
Mhm.
might not really feel like that they really thought the roster through as much as they wanted to, or they were pressed for time. They're like, you know what, just make him a part of this character, make him a summon on this character's like squad or something.
I actually think because they built a lot of the characters like that they have been very considerate as to what characters they want in. Because it's like, hey, maybe they're thinking, I want to include every character in this game, and how do we do that without putting in these characters that don't really have movesets?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's all throw them into one character, bro. Genius.
That is
Pure genius.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it was a cop out or anything like that, but like I can definitely see that.
If it's a cop out, it's a good cop out.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely like a
Creative.
win-win. It's a win-win, really, because like if you get a really cool character like Ginyu from it, you're like, hey, whatever, I'll live with that. But I could see them kind of going in that direction and like stretching it a little bit,
Mm.
something like we'll bring Super Boo in, and then like every now and then he'll transform into Kid Boo, and that would be wild as fuck. That would be crazy if like Super Boo had active transformations as a move set. I'm not saying I would hate it, but it would definitely bring in some like, oh well, why did you do that kind of arguments. But I feel like I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Arxis and Bandai Namco, they may feel like they want to include every character, but I also think that they're being very mature and very realistic about this and saying, we can't include every character. We might be able to include them in some form or another, not necessarily combative, but we can't just put them all in the roster.
Mhm.
So we'll find some other way to include them, either as a summon character, or maybe just as a background character, or something in the robust story mode that they keep talking about. They got this crazy ass story mode where you can run around fighting clones of the Z Warriors and stuff, and I guess there's like an original plot going on revolving around Android 21, who also might be playable, by the way. So we got to include her on the roster, obviously.
Mm.
Like,
I think she's a shoo-in for sure.
I feel like she would be, but I feel like they're going to try to play this angle where she doesn't seem like she's actually able to be a combatant at 1st, and I think she'll be something like a last boss, where she reveals her true colors and then you got to beat her ass. Yeah, and something interesting that they said about it today was, or said about her, was that since she is a fighter's original character, the original plan was just to have her be just involved in this game, and then if there was any interest in her, she could be brought out into other mediums. They could even put her in the manga or the TV show, or in other Namco games.
Yeah, I feel like she's probably gonna come out in like some Xenoverse.
Well, that's basically what they're basically hinting at that. The Android 21 patch.
It's I feel like they definitely got that engine down to create characters. Like they churn them out pretty well.
Yeah, but what's crazy about that shit is they basically just reversed that. They did this. They did the freaking vice versa there, because now you can put Xenoverse characters in fighters, man.
I don't think so. Like I think the way the models are made, you
No,
can't
I
just...
don't. No, I mean they could just not port them over, but they could just say put Tora and Mira in freaking fighters.
Oh, like yeah, I guess you could do that. But what I was arguing is the ease to which they've been able to pull that off for Xenoverse and put all those characters in. Like they do it relatively fast. Whereas like for fighters, the turnaround time for that is probably only because they got so many people on deck. and I don't think they can just fucking let's shit out another character. You guys want another one? Yeah. What are you thinking? Huh? You want corn in this bitch?
Well,
Get
that's what
out of here.
I'm saying. It might be like a season 2 kind of thing, because they've already basically wifed themselves up to the seasonal thing. They don't have to make another game anymore. They just have to keep updating this one. There technically doesn't have to be a Fighters 2 until like what 2030, and potentially. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't want to wait anywhere near
Am I gonna live
that
that
long.
long?
I'm not gonna wait nearly that long for that. But they have bought themselves some time to just add characters in and rebalance things based on the seasons. And so, yeah, Toa and Mira are super fucking popular. They could have just hinted at possibly getting characters from outside of the canon Z-verse to be in Fighters. You might get characters from Heroes. I mean, I hope not. That shit's just. You ever seen Dragon Ball Heroes?
No.
Yeah, don't bother with that shit.
I'm not talking about that shit right now.
I know, man. You're having a tough time. It's gonna be worse, man. I'm telling you. But yeah. So they definitely they have a lot of options here for the roster and whatnot, and I mean just the way that they've been handling it. Like I think it's something special where like you can hit a sour note and then release a trailer and everybody forgets almost. I'm not saying everybody did forget, but I think it kind of cooled down. I think things kind of.
Okay, well let's break that down for a second.
Put some ice in the jaws real quick.
Why do you think that is that way with Dragon Ball Fighters right now? I mean, I have my opinion on it, and I think it's because it does feel like this game is a labor of love, and I could see the work in it. And beyond that, it operates really well as a fighting game already. So I can be more accepting towards them doing stuff like that, and I could totally forget. They could drop a trailer again you right now and be like, what were we tripping about again, guys? Like, what was the problem? I don't give a fuck. For me, obviously, just for me, but can't speak for everyone.
I was saying this earlier this week where I said, with all this crap going, with all these crazy ass statements flying around from both camps, they could release a trailer for Broly and everybody would just lose their shit and forget it, And that's because, I mean, aside from love of Dragon Ball and love of fighting games and whatnot, and Bandai Namco just handling everything great, there's been a lot of goodwill built up. That's definitely not something not to forget. But on top of all that, people just want to like this game. Like I don't think that. I mean, this is not the platform to talk about how people want to hate other games.
But look, man, look, everybody's got their favorite game, and what's funny is that we talked about this even with other games that aren't in the limelight right now. We've had a few discussions going over the week in the fighting game community, and at the end of the day, it really just goes into it is a very subjective thing, right? It's hard to look at something objectively and be like, oh, this is better than that or whatever. But all I can say for myself is, as a fighting game player, I won't play that shit unless it's legit. Like, I tried so hard to play Xenoverse. It's not a real fighting game. I really tried though.
Well, Rhyme's gonna have your legs broken, man.
I don't want to get into the discussion as to why it has the capabilities, but whatever. I'll explain myself some other time. But what I'm saying is that if it doesn't work in a system mechanic and even just in general the way things are meant to work, then it's a shitty game. I'm not even speaking specifically on the other big games that are out. I'm just saying in general, like, I don't know.
How do you compare that to Fighters then? Like what is Fighters meeting that mark where it's working the way it's supposed to be?
So far, I mean, damn, we haven't had that much time with it, and that's legit. That is a really important thing to consider when we're talking about this game. Shit, man, we might just be shills. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, it just feels good. Like, the game feels good. We would need an outside perspective of people who don't give a shit about Dragon Ball, which they do exist, that want to play this game. That's address that fact
That's
is that
actually a
there's
piece of the
people,
pie. It's a visible piece of the pie.
there are people who do not care about Dragon Ball that are like, I want to play this game. That is a fact. Those people exist.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy for me as a Dragon Ball fan is I definitely couldn't get these people to talk to me about Dragon Ball when they didn't give a shit about Dragon Ball. But now they're all ears, you know. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm talking about me in high school. Like these people,
Oh shit.
these kinds of people with these kinds of interests that somehow managed to overlap with me,
Yeah.
overlap with mine, just didn't happen until until this. I did not get it with anime, did not get it with KOF. Dragon Ball Fighters comes out and people are like, hey, that was kind of hot. And I'm like, yeah, man, where you been?
Man, you mean you couldn't go into a homeroom and talk about, dude, Butoden's fucking sick, bro. You played Super Butoden?
There was like one kid and he was weird as fuck.
He's like, oh shit, yeah, I got the fucking ROM on my laptop. What? You got a laptop?
Yo,
Fucking
let's rob
crazy.
this kid, man.
Uh,
But no, so like I hear you. It's like I said that people want to just like the game, but it's also just a simple fact that it's almost out of our control. Like when you build up that much goodwill and you get that much hype behind it, and people are saying that this fighting game is one of the most anticipated games of 2018, it's hard to derail that. You have to
it
try
is
to
true though. It is true. Like you can't take that away from it. You know,
No.
it definitely is one of the most anticipated fighting games of the like. It's not even coming out this year, but this year, it's been the most anticipated to me at least.
Yeah.
Yo, I think objectively it has been, man. Like
Well, for both of
it's
us.
just it. No, I really do think objectively it has. Like this crossed over so many media outlets, and it has that power. This is something we've been talking about. Somebody mentioned it, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who to give credit to this to. But they said that Dragon Ball Fighters crosses the weeb barrier. um
Yes, that was check-in, I think.
uh
It was in the Mount Paozu Arcade Discord chat, which you can join. I'll put the link in the chat right now.
yeah.
Ask some questions later.
Which I don't know why that was so profound to me, but I was like, yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it, but not
It didn't get put
specifically.
that perfectly, right? Where you're just like, yeah.
Exactly. Like it just made so much sense. I was like, yeah, that is true. Like though there are other properties that are really popular, it doesn't cross all boundaries. There is a barrier. And to segue into another thing is okay, so at the Tekken World Finals, right?
That's how big this is.
Okay,
That's
people
how big
were
it is.
people were getting upset because of the player choices they had for the exhibition. And you know what's crazy to me? Is how people are laying claim to we need a representative for the anime
And what have we
scene.
been saying? And what have we
And,
been saying since we started the show?
and I'm going to tell you this. In my opinion, it's not about the anime scene. It's we need people that represent the already budding Dragon Ball community, which we already have. And that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part is that these communities are all getting mad about like, hey, we need a representative for this, for that, whatever. But dude, like we could legit say right now that we have like even Perfect Legend, he
Perfect
could
Legend is a rep.
man,
He played. He's in the beta.
he's already in. He's already
Yeah.
in. You know, these I don't look at these people as like, oh, this guy's the MK guy, this guy's the anime guy. Like, if it's any more obvious, it's in the matches that the matches and the type of people that we've had on our show with like Nakio and Tatsu is it Tatsu comes from a completely different background though he's played those games it's not what he's known for you
Mm-hmm.
know and he's probably one of the better players right now. Nakio, yeah, sure, he's a representative of the anime community, but it's not that divisive right now, you know. And I feel even within the people that have played the game that are talking about it, we haven't been that way. So it's really interesting to me that people are laying claims to this game by community. It's not going to be like that, you know. Like everybody's going to go in on this. There's going to be people coming across all games to play this game, and it's going to be its own thing.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about for months now, actually. The
Mhm.
fact that we're going to be seeing a lot of faces involved with this, and it's not just this game. It happens in a lot of games, but I don't think it's ever been so profoundly large as it's going to happen. The impact
Mhm.
has not been so profound as it has been with Dragon Ball Fighters, to the point where everybody wants to have hands on the game, you know. And so when I saw the lineup for that, I was initially like, "Oh man, like this is going to be big."
Mhm.
It's so big that Tekken decided to have the exhibition at their world finals, Like, that's how big Dragon Ball Fighters is right now. They're like, you know what? We have a lot of shine going for us right now. Let's
Mhm.
give some to Dragon Ball Fighters, because that's only going to bring more people in. And they were right. Everybody's like, oh shit, I think I got to go now. I've got people that weren't even interested in Tekken, and now they're like, I think I'm going to go to Tekken World Finals, which is great because you also get to
Mhm.
try out Geese Howard when you're over there.
Yeah, and that's our shit.
That's a
So
nice.
if
That's
you
all.
guys if you guys watch our other videos, that's us right there.
I'm
Anyways,
telling you, best of both worlds right now, man. If you would have told me a
yeah.
year ago that I would be going to Tekken World Finals to play
Mhm.
Capcom versus Namco versus SNK, and on the side I'd be watching a Dragon Ball Fighters exhibition, I would have told
Mhm.
you were fucking crazy. Get out of me. I would have blocked you, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sorry in retrospect, but it's it's an amazing thing to see this going down. And I'll admit, when I saw that Tatsu and Nakio weren't on that list, I was like, hey, what the fuck, guys? Come on. You guys want to put on an exhibition for this game, and you're not going to invite like two of the hottest players in the Western Hemisphere to come and demo it for you? And for whatever reason, they didn't.
So I would say on that, it's not that I don't want the other guys on the
Right.
list. It's just
I'm not saying that either.
I'm totally cool with who they got on there. It's just the absence of that, like, they would have made that event so much better because you get the cross promotion with the players that they have as the headliners, right? But at the other end, you get to show off the game with people that have been proven
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do that, right? And you basically hit all points. It gives you the opportunity to hit all points, man. Like, you get a lot of cross promotion, a lot of people that have a lot of popularity. Sonic Fox is he's on
Hottest,
fire.
hot.
He's on fucking fire.
Like
Fuck
you,
yeah,
if
put
you're Bandai Namco right now, you're like, hell yes, put
yeah,
Sonic Fox in the seat. I don't care who he's playing.
dude. I'm like, hell yeah, put Sonic Fox on the ticket because if he's gonna bring a lot of people to watch it, Same
He's
with
gonna bring Rick Fox to watch it. Jeez.
Exactly, and I'll take it, man. you know. But all I'm saying is, I would have liked to see them on top of all the players they already have there.
Sure, like I definitely feel like, but maybe they didn't have time for the time constraints or a thing. This is just an exhibition. They already
Mhm.
brought in D1 and Maximilian, who's also been doing a super heavy grind for this game.
Mhm.
So no one can deny that he too is not a part of this
Mhm.
community now. He has definitely steeped himself knee deep in it.
Yeah.
Um, and then you got some guys who, you got Sonic Fox, who like publicly hasn't really discussed it very much, and you got D1 from the Smash community, which he that's a very large influence.
Yeah, that's right, man. I totally forgot to mention that. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to pull in as much as they can.
Yeah,
Max is also there.
I mean, like basically, like if you're looking to advertise and you want people to get eyes on it, that's not the worst thing you could do. Now, if the goal was to show how cool the game is at a max level, at the current high level, then that's a different story. And I definitely feel like they can accomplish that later on at a later date.
Yeah.
But you know, this is pretty cool as it is.
Dude, and if it doesn't go down, we got you. We're gonna make that
Oh yeah.
happen as a community anyways. So we're already supportive of all the people that have shown their interest and are trying to be uh trying to represent this game, and try to support each other on that. And um for us, at least, as a channel and Game Goons and Mount Paozu Arcade, that's the plan from the get-go, man. This is why we're doing this, because we want to give the opportunity of people that not only represent the game at a high level, but also bring something to the community, and that's exactly what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way the community works, anyways, right? Like,
Yeah.
the community has their people that they want to represent, and uh the general community and the media outlets have the people that they want to put up, and it's like that right now. It's business, and
I,
it's a lot of There's a lot of reasons as to why those decisions get made.
I should also point out that all because you haven't seen a video of D1 or Sonic Fox playing Dragon Ball Fighters doesn't mean they're not good at it, you know? I mean, as far as we know, Sonic Fox could be just as good as Tatsu and Nak right now, or even better. You know, he'd be better than those guys we saw coming out of Europe.
Yeah,
we see what the kind of damage he's doing. We can see what the kind of crazy stuff he's doing in Marvel Infinite, right? You know, his kid picks up games really quickly. You know, like I don't like to attribute people's like, you know, performances to like anything other than raw talent and hard work, but like the kid's kind of a genius, so he's nasty week one, let's put it that way.
He is a genius, but he also has a lot of time.
That too, yeah. Well, college.
Well, because you know that's totally different from having a game at home and grinding it. Like we don't even have a training mode, so like
maybe he's got training mode. Oh my god,
that's really what holds a lot of people back as to the progress that we have. Right? Is that there hasn't been a training mode. If we had a training mode, this shit would be nuts.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure of it. So I mean, like you said, or like Ape said, you know, we're gonna be, you know, there's gonna be plenty of opportunities to see, you know, your favorite player playing this game. I'm sure when there's tournaments, there's going to be a lot of eyes on who is going to be coming out on top in the first 4 or 5 tournaments. You know, who's going to lay claim from what community. And I think the best case scenario, because I don't want to make predictions on this, but the best case scenario is like multiple tournaments throughout the year are won by multiple backgrounds, and then that just hammers home the fact that this is a new plateau. This is a new platform. This is no longer like, hey, KOF players are good at Street Fighter, or Street Fighter players are entering Mortal Kombat. You know, this is players are coming to Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, we're gonna have our own meme of like when Sonic Fox comes to play your game. Like, fuck.
It's not even our game yet. We like it. Yeah. It's our community. We're building. We're doing what we can to build it, but it's not our game. It's everybody's game. You know, this can be anybody's game. There's something in this game for everyone, I believe.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm with you on that, man.
Anyway, so make sure you watch it. I think that's happening on November 12th, and it'll be streamed from what's the Bandai Namco channel? Just in case, or you can put it in chat. You know, just make sure you're on there. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be there. I don't think I'll be allowed on the mic or anything, but that's probably for the best. I'll be doing a report. I think I'm gonna do a Goons on assignment there. I'm gonna do a Goons on assignment. Have like some interviews with some people. Just like, you know, just keep it casual, chat, hang out.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
I'm down that. Wait, we need to hear your reports, man. We need to see what's going on.
Oh, you're gonna be getting one, man, because I heard that might be a new build, and they're gonna have demo stations all night, baby.
Shit,
you know, I'm in there. I am going to be shilling like a villain. No, I'm not saying that. But yeah, so it's gonna be a good time. I mean, actually, by then we're gonna know possibly 2 new characters, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, IGN did reveal that there will be a reveal of a reveal that is soon to happen. I guess next week. I think I'm not 100% on that, but they're gonna have their own reveal of 2 characters. Which, let's talk about this for a second. That these media outlets have been able to secure certain exclusives. This is now a trend.
Yes.
Very very interesting.
It's mostly interesting because, let's be real, these guys have not secured exclusives with any other company that did fighting games before. Now, granted, they may not have been looking for it either, but they're obviously actively seeking it now. They're actively seeking it. They're promoting it. They're like, oh, we all are salivating to be a part of the Dragon Ball Fighters train, you know? And I'm loving it. I am just absolutely eating it up, you know? People are talking about like, oh man, what are the future of fighters? And I'm like, you know what? Apparently, the future of fighters is finally getting some shine on all the Western like websites, you know, all the freaking publications. So it's cool, you know. First came was game trailers or Game Informer. Game Informer. Game Informer got the first month-long exclusive. We are still within that month, and I think an update is coming out tomorrow. And then IGN at the earliest of November gets 2 character reveals, which had to be like, you know, we will sacrifice our entire office's firstborns for this exclusive.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Don't leave us out in the cold, bro. Don't leave us out.
How do you secure that? How does that work?
I mean, I'm assuming you come up to them and say, hey, I'm IGN. You might have heard of me. You know, is there anything you can give me on Dragon Ball Fighters? And The Bando Nam.
Oh yeah, we got it, folks. Bando Namkai is back. The official return of Hell Pockets. Bando Namkai. Yes. Okay, it's cool. It was a long time, man. You lasted a while.
Babco might be like,
Oh.
hey, we've got a couple characters for you. So have at it, you know?
I mean, they do have a lot of reach over there. A lot of their personalities too have a lot of reach. So, they even at E3 they get a lot of super exclusive shit too. So
Yeah, I mean, sure. Well, remember that this was revealed at a Western trade show, which
that
is
is true.
unheard of.
And we're getting it before the East does.
Yes,
What
and
the
this is
fuck?
probably one of their most beloved franchises, done by their most beloved developing company, published by one of their most beloved publishers. Now, I don't want to get too excited about that, because in the past they've definitely done stuff like this, and then the Japanese versions come out and they've gotten some extra stuff that we didn't get. Hopefully, that's not what's going on this time, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but you know the fact that we get it early means that an American's gonna win Evo, right?
Oh, we got the head start.
That's how it works. Like, it's just impossible for anybody to catch up when you get a head start. It's arcade rules, bro. It's arcade rules all over again.
I mean, actually, that's kind of true, because we don't know if Japan's going to play or not, because they ain't got no arcade release in the pipeline. And while the gamer cafes are definitely on the rise in Japan, we don't know if that's necessarily overtaking the arcades yet. I'd have to talk to Giuna out in Japan about that. Shout out to Giuna, finally modded me in this chat, and see if what the buzz is on that. Obviously, he knows better than we do.
To segue from this into Evo, like I mentioned, before we get into the Evo talk, we'd like to remind you guys that we do have a Discord for Mount Paozu Arcade. And if you have any questions that you want us to answer tonight, hop on in there and ask away. Gibby, if you can drop that link once more. I know he's been dropping it in there all night. But once again, to allow these people to ask us some questions. So, and segueing back into the Evo talk, it was featured in the trailer.
Yes. Now, Mr. Wizard did say that all because stuff is in the trailer does not indicate it will be in the lineup for Evo 2018. I mean, you can take that any way you want. I choose to take it as Dragon Ball FighterZ is going to be at Evo 2018 in the story.
Also, shout outs to the great clip from Hell Pockets. My co-host, Don't Wake Daddy Classic. How could you omit that from a video? You could not, and it was there.
Oh my god! I somehow knew that was gonna be it too, because I remember Mike Ross was streaming Exerd, and Mr. Wizard pops into the chat, and I asked him, like, dude, where's that trailer? Because he'd already teased the trailer at that point, and I was like, where's the trailer at, bro? And he was like, oh, don't worry, it's safe with me. And so then my next question was, am I in it? He's like, I told him not to put you in it. I don't think they listened to me. I was like, yeah, sorry about that. I think that's 2 years in a row now. Shit.
Yeah,
man.
so,
yeah. But no, so Dragon Ball FighterZ did make a and what's weird about this is that it wasn't an official game whatsoever.
Yeah, that was super weird. I saw that. I was like, oh, you're gonna put Dragon Ball in this trailer? Okay, that definitely wasn't an official game.
I mean, people knew it was there, but it was a capped tournament. It was put on by Bandai Namco.
Oh, you almost got him again. Bandai Namco is in the lexicon, baby.
Oh my god. But for the most part, it was just all self-contained. Now, it was a huge spread. There's a lot of people over there, obviously, trying to get in on that game, but it was all contained to its own little area, and you had to go there to even know it was existing in that little corner of that gigantic room. Now, I can totally see if the other games on there are not an indication of them being brought back to Evo 2018. It's just a highlight reel, right? But I feel like it's kind of... There were fucking Dragon Ball FighterZ lanyards at Evo 2017. Like, if you had a badge, you had a Dragon Ball FighterZ lanyard attached to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, I knew I didn't want to be super excited or just read too far into it. But I was like, man, this game is just barely 20% done, and we've got lanyards for it. at Evo.
Oh, they're ready, man.
They were so ready, man.
Mm-hmm.
They had already collected all 7 balls. They were just like, we're just waiting for 2018 so we can call the dragon.
Yeah. Yes. This Evo situation, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, so they announced the date.
Mm-hmm.
The date was August 3rd, I believe, right? Am I good on that date? August 3rd?
August 3rd to the 5th, yes, at Mandalay Bay Resort.
So this is a great thing for your fellow goons here because that means that we can get a head start in planning of what we're going to be able to provide you guys next summer when Evo comes around. And best believe we got a few tricks up our sleeves.
Oh, yes.
And I cannot wait to see what comes out of this community. And this has just been constant talks that we've all had here at Game Goons about what we're gonna do, and it's like we don't know yet until the game comes out, and we don't know yet until we see what the community ends up turning out to be. And this is a very exciting time for me because it's so new that we can't really predict it. At the same time, like I'm just excited to be able to plan something so far ahead. I feel like such an adult.
I know, right? It's like, oh man, we got like we got to put together like plans and everything, got logistics to worry about, and like this is actually weird stuff that it's stuff we do in our real life. We're like, hey, we're applying our real life skills, the stuff we enjoy. I think I know why people quit their jobs and do this full time now.
Yeah, it's really weird to be like, oh shit, we're organizing shit now. Okay. that also means that we're getting old. So
a little bit. I mean, I think we got a couple more. We got at least like Vaya is like what 50 or something.
I think we need to recruit some youngsters, to keep us hip.
Yeah, I mean oh wow. But yeah, so like we've been we got a lot of stuff in the heads and like in our heads, ready to go. If you were there last year, expect something way better, I would say. But yeah, so we went over Evo trailer, went over characters, went over new characters coming out, possible roster, like everything, DLC stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's everything except from the audience. Question time. Okay. And I think our lovely producer Gibby is going to be handling it tonight.
Oh yes, can we have that feature? Gibby, come in and read those fucking questions for us, man. Please.
Do I really have to be a part of a Dragon Ball show?
I mean,
yes, you do.
It's part of the Goon contract.
God fucking damn it. Okay. Well, I want to say I like the bit on, summoning the dragon next year because this year Namco had to summon the dragon to make sure Tekken 7 came out first quarter 2017.
That's true, man.
All right. So, first question comes from good friend of the show, Lionheart16. He asks, do you think it would be Bandai Namco's best interest to keep silent about the season pass until after the release of the game? Just so it's off people's minds?
I feel like there's no difference.
I get what you're saying. I kind of have a semi-similar sentiment, but it's more leaning across of like maybe they shouldn't have called it a season pass, or maybe they should have. I don't know. It's just such a problem with marketing.
Here's the problem with it. Here's a 50-50 on this, right? So we get the game, and they announced DLC 8 characters before it even released. People were pissed because now they feel like they're already beholden to 8 months of this game, which I mean, it only benefits them anyway because they were gonna buy it. But it's an initial it's put like ripping the Band-Aid off basically, right? It's like, what the fuck? You didn't tell me this a month ago. Now I feel like I've been blindsided, And I'm not saying they're wrong, but it's just like the alternative to that is the game comes out and we hear nothing. We hear nothing for months. And then in February 2018, here's 4 new characters, $20, bye. You know who did that? Little company called SNK.
Oh.
And people begged them for DLC for months. They're like, please, put in Yamazaki, put in Rock, put in Whip, put in Shingo. Where's Shingo?
All right.
And they put 4 characters in there. It was like, oh man, that took long enough. Took you long enough.
All right. So
All right, next question, Gibby. Go for it.
Next question comes from Chunk Brixon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love that name.
He asks, knowing we're getting an announcer and alternate themes for the game, what do you guys hope there is, either from the packs or in the future?
Alternate themes, really? I mean, I knew about the announcer, but I didn't know about alternate themes.
So we don't know for sure. So like the anime music pack has it's something that they're including with the Ultimate Edition, where they're going to include 11 songs from the anime that they're gonna that people are assuming that you can use for battle tracks for BGM.
Oh fuck yeah! Dude,
Yeah,
like, this is
and
the
people asked for
first
that.
about me hearing this. This is fucking awesome.
Because they barely been talking about it. They basically included it in the pack, and they were just like, there you go. And
That's fucking cool.
They haven't really said what it does yet. Now it could be something like it could be a fucking jukebox. It could just be you can go to an options and like listen to it, but that's it. Or it could be BGM. Now the way ArcSys does these things, usually if they have music in the game, you can usually incorporate it into a match as a BGM track.
Yeah.
Which solves the problem of where's the Kikuchi test? Shunsuke Kikuchi was the original composer for Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, and I think even Dragon Ball GT. He does all those classic tracks, and so they put 11 of his songs into the well, we can assume it's Kikuchi.
I would hope so, man. That would be so badass.
Yeah, but there's a high possibility. Well, it's definitely not Kenji Yamamoto for obvious reasons I'll go into later on, but it could be Faulkner. Could be 11 Faulkner tracks.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't really put my finger on that one. I don't have enough of my finger on the pulse of what.
Yeah, Bruce Faulkner couldn't put a finger on his music either because that's all over the place.
People love it though. There's definitely a group of people that love that music. So it's real. People like that shit. Like no joke.
If you want to settle America, it's gotta be Faulkner.
I don't know, but I mean, my personal favorite would be the Japanese version, but
definitely. It has to be, man. Nobody wants the Faulkner.
I want that Cell theme, bro. Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right, next question comes from DJ Curly D. He asks, oh jeez, my phone just shut off. Do you think that Goldo's stun combo could lead into a team switch like a Marvel kind of thing?
Stun combo?
The stun.
His time stop? I mean...
stun could. Sorry, I may have said combo. Apologies.
I mean, yeah, if he freezes you, sure, you can like team... I think he means body switch, right? Where you just you freeze and then you go into the body change. I don't see why it wouldn't, unless they specifically make it so that body switch has less startup, more startup than the cooldown from being stunned from that.
I don't think he meant about the body switch, but
he said team switch. I'm like,
team switch. I think tag is.
I'm guessing tag because he said like Marvel. So body switching is not a Marvel thing, but I mean, you could probably do that too.
I mean, it feels like that would be really. I mean,
I don't know actually. How we don't have video.
We don't know
how long that stun actually is.
And I guess the one thing is I guess he's wondering if he switches out in the middle of that stun, is they gonna keep stunned?
Oh, like a raw switch? I doubt it. I don't think that move's gonna work like that. Like that's a lot of fucking stun.
Yeah.
I don't see a move having that much hit stun to be able to do that much in between the hit stun, like switching and all that stuff. I'm sure if you combo, like.
So you think? I mean, I guess the benefits from it too would just be like you stun and then you tag out for free. That's it.
Yeah, we gotta see a video, man. We can't really make a call on that.
Yeah. I mean, I can assume that's what's happened. So far, there's no other catch moves in this game. I've realized that there's no real move designed to force people into a stationary position for a given period of time. It's all just attacks. So,
how does Krillin's move work?
I think it's just a hit.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Cool.
Stuns you for a quick second, and he can't really do much off it.
It's not like Yeah.
Okay. All right. Another question from Lionheart. Oh boy. What are your top 3 favorite and least favorite Dragon Ball Z games?
Oh,
If try to make this quick, guys.
So the original Dragon Ball Budokai was pretty hype when it came out for me. Um, I the third Budokai, and after that, I don't know.
Those are your favorite ones, right?
Yeah.
Just say Dragon Ball Fighters.
Huh? No, I mean, they're pretty significant, man. They hadn't made a mainstream one that had a pretty mainstream appeal. I feel like the first Budokai was a
Oh yeah,
they've never done
definitely.
shit like that
Yeah,
before.
freaking
So,
gigantic.
and then the third one was like it reaching its peak. But I was again like I didn't really play those games too seriously, other than just in a fan, like from a perspective of a fan. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, those games for me. Even though I liked all the old SNES ones, those were pretty cool, but I had to play them on a computer. I didn't have an actual gamepad, so.
Um, what were your 3 least like Dragon Ball games? I guess.
The Budokai 2, I hated it.
Mhm.
Um, and that's the only one I have any real ire towards. Budokai 2.
Okay. So for me, I'll start with my least favorite Dragon Ball game, Taiketsu. Garbage. Complete trash.
Yeah, I don't even know which one that is.
Yeah, I'll show it to you in a YouTube video sometime. It's awful.
Okay.
And my favorite is probably, I mean, it's Hyper, man. Hyper Dragon Ball Z is probably my favorite Dragon Ball Z game.
I feel like that's like the hipster fucking
No,
pick.
it's so fun, dude. I'm actually kind of sad that Fighters is kind of overshadowing it, but at the same time, I mean, there's a community for it too. Like I've definitely seen those guys at CEO and they get down. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just never seen people like really play it.
No,
You know?
I've seen people. I've played people in the game.
And I feel like a lot of people that have told me that that's like their favorite game had just played it at a super casual level.
I mean, I'm undefeated in it, so maybe that's true.
Right?
I've only played casual scrubs.
I thought you were gonna say that I beat the game.
Yeah, I beat the game.
All right, Hell
I beat
Pockets
Mugen, guys.
Sure. All right, next question, everybody.
Wow.
Next question comes from Davimon DLH. Oh, okay. He asks, who do you think the final 7 characters will be if the roster size is 24?
Let's shorten that.
Yeah,
that's a lot of characters.
That's a lot of characters for each of you guys.
3. I wanted to ask you this question actually, so let's make it 3. I was gonna ask you this question anyways. What are the 3 next characters that are gonna get revealed?
Gotenks, Kid Buu, and Vegito.
That's pretty good actually. Mm-hmm. The next one I think is Beerus, Hit, and let me think. Fucking Broly, bro.
Broly.
That's it. That's all I got.
I feel like Master Roshi for the hell of it.
I feel like I could do better, but yeah, that's what I got for now.
It's definitely Master Roshi, guys. It's Master Roshi, Korin, and Yajirobe. That's what it is.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You're making Gordon very happy right now.
We've got 2 more questions. I'm going to ask MD Spriggs' question first because he hates me, apparently. Okay. It says, if you had to choose between Caulifla, Kale, Ribrianne, or Bulma in a mech, which would you want in the following order? God damn.
I super don't care about this question because you put Ribrianne in it.
What you got against Big Rib, huh? What you got against Big Rib? She only want to love you. She only want to love everybody. Big Rib just wants some love.
That was the low point for me in Super. I don't want to get into it.
Big Rib ruined your enjoyment for that show. I ain't mad at you. It ain't gonna be Big Rib. I can guarantee you that. She's probably the most hated character in the Dragon Ball Super series right now. Actually, Caulifla is probably not so enigmatic as a character anymore. I feel like they're gonna do some development for her soon. But I definitely feel like they would put Kale in before her. So, but which one would I want? Probably Kale.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I'm gonna say Bulma and a mech could work because they did it for Lex Luthor.
I don't even know.
They did it for Lex Luthor. All right. Could work for her. And final question. Completely on topic. Gordon asks, why is Shanghai not making Capcom Cup?
Because he's too busy on the hype train for Dragon Ball Fighters. Thank you. You're welcome. That's why. It's easy to see, baby.
I mean,
And also, they just released a new episode of KOF
holy shit.
Destiny. So, you know his eyes are distracted.
After he got blown up at, what was it, Southeast Asian Majors, he went home and binged the KOF Destiny. And the new episode's out, so he's like, screw it. I got to watch, Kim Kaplan versus Clark.
Yeah. All right, so that's all the questions, man. Pretty good question, guys.
Yeah, very nice.
So we've come to the end of our show. So much to talk about. I'm glad we covered most of it, even though we kind of rambled on some of the things. But you know what? That's the name of the game, baby. It's the name of the game. That's what we do here.
We got stuff to say. Gotta let it out.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And let me remind you that yes, they have announced Evo next year, and we plan on trying to make that room happen. And we got some plans in ahead of us for Game Goons, so keep an eye out for us. Hit us with the subscribe button if you dig us and you want to support us. But we'll be around, man. Anything else you want to add to that, Chris?
No, make sure you watch Dragon Ball Super on Saturday, if you're still following it. Make sure you check out the Tekken World Tour final stream if you're not going there in person. And of course, always remember to follow, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GameGoonsTV, where you can catch replays of this as well as replays of other streams that we run. And YouTube only content that'll be coming soon. So, yeah. Got plenty of stuff for you to watch. I have a slide for my full screen, so all right, so I gotta do it this way. And yeah, so once again, thanks for watching for tonight, and we got anything coming up for them later on this week? I think. They get the Goon stream tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, we're streaming mostly full Goon. Well, we will make that happen.
Yeah.
But we as a Goon team, the Goon team that you hear about here right now, we'll be streaming tomorrow, so keep a lookout for that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. And if that's all it, then I'll be sending us home right now with a Keep it super. You know what I'm saying?